as you can see, on the bench is this front-loading Class 15 Japanese-made machine. This has a tag for Bradford. I think that was a department store, but not sure who that was. I can't remember. I think this is a new home and was also badged as a new home, but I'm trying to get some confirmation on that and look that up for the video description. The important thing is this has a lot of complex arrangements for the controls and a unique way to connect them all. So I'm doing a little video to hopefully help people who might get one of these and need to make some adjustments. The most important thing is that anytime you're using one of these machines, you really need to check the manual or be careful when you use the controls, because they'll feel a little bit of friction to use them, and then you might get it, decide, oh, this is a little bit tight, I'm just going to force this knob to move. But all these knobs and controls just have pretty thin rods and levers behind them that are more or less only designed for exactly the amount of pressure you need to operate the control when it's not stuck. So if you get busy, and this machine, this lever here is the stitch length control, and you see it moves our 0 fine up to 5, and it pulls the reverse button in as this lever moves. If that is stuck back there and you push on this lever, even though it's metal, that lever is just going to bend. So whenever you have one of these, make sure you free it up really thoroughly before you apply too much pressure to any of these controls. The dial for the feed dog control, so normal feed where they're completely raising all the way up. Silk is kind of in the middle where the feed dogs are supposed to just partially come up and not grip the fabric really tough, and then darn where they stay completely retracted and don't touch the fabric. This dial is up here. A lot of machines it's in the bed. There's just a longer arm with more bends in it. Right here, a longer arm with more bends up to that dial over to the same style of pin that would be connected with a straight rod over to a dial on the deck here. So the important thing, like many of these Japanese machines, this is your zigzag width control dial, and we've got multiple stitches here. You need to pull this up. This is marked release, but many of them don't have the release mark on it. The dial kind of turns right now, but if I rotate the machine, sometimes it'll jam. I guess it's not going to do it on camera. Oh, I know how to... There, see? I didn't pull this up to release, and now it can't go back to the regular zigzag position. So if you're running one of these or using one of these machines and you have trouble turning the stitch dial, make sure that you hold your zigzag width up on maximum to lift the follower off of the cam stack. And then this dial here is moving a cam follower vertically. that is underneath this dial on top of the machine and is arranged vertically behind the main shaft. So I am going to move the camera and try to get a shot in there. Okay, you can see our vertical cam stack here, right here. This is the cam or the feed cam, and then coming up in the front here you'll see the crank link for the lower drive. And as we go here, you can see this bracket here is our follower slide, and it slides on this shaft here, and when I turn the zigzag width out to the release position, it lifts our cam follower to allow it to slide up and down on the shaft here. This machine has the zigzag width controller is the very top cam, which does not turn with the stack and is simply controlled by the dial on top of the machine. And then you still need to lift the follower onto the release position with the front knob to allow this to slide. So, like many Japanese side load machines and a lot of other Class 15 machines with decorative stitches, this machine has the main zigzag cam, which is right here. That cam set the stitch for manual. So the cam under here provides the main zigzag motion to the machine, and then the control knob moves here and sets it, and now it's at 0 zigzag, so this arm is not moving. And then when we use a cam, we set the machine for 0 zigzag, or release our dial in this case, and the cam then works through this follower and this link to move the zigzag cam arm here and change how much of the main zigzag gets translated to the stitch. So it gradually is making each zigzag narrower until it gets to 0 width, and then it makes the cam makes narrower and narrower stitches. So this cam stack is not controlling the needle bar directly, it's controlling the zigzag arm, just like if you were very carefully changing the dial yourself. That means that you can create variation with many machines. The way they lock, you can create a variation by having the knob for your main zigzag here, and then that cam won't change anything until the stitch is this wide, and then it will push the stitch out and relax and rest it here. This machine is a little more complex. It has this modifier dial on it so that this third cam link then comes between the main stack, the main zigzag, and the needle bar. And this modifier dial is increasing how much motion from the main zigzag cam gets transmitted over to the needle bar, like a multiplier. So it's always going to make the big stitch, the widest stitch, the same, but as you saw while I rotated, the narrower stitches as this slid back were still much bigger, and when the machine is over kind of closer to zero, it still makes fatter stitches than as I rotate this dial around. The same length as a little narrower stitch. This linkage means there's a ton of places that you can get sticky, and also a lot of adjustments you have to make. And this is going to happen on any of these machines that you find a similar cam style where there's a stack, and then that stack connects to your main zigzag cam, and then the main zigzag cam drives the needle bar. Always start with your main zigzag cam. Ignore the cam stack entirely. If you're having a problem with the zigzag or the straight stitch on the machine, ignore the cam stack and adjust the main zigzag. In this case, we've got the control dial moves this arm, and then there's a set screw here, so check this set screw to see how far it's moving here, and then there's a stopper here that hits the front of the machine. There's usually a stopper for the maximum zigzag somewhere. And just check this zigzag cam to here at your needle bar is working properly. Once you have that set, and because this machine has this multiplier block in it, there's a pair of set screws here that can also adjust the stitch. Once you have that set, you need to take and worry about your cam stack. So check your original zigzag cam, this one here. Once that is working very well on maximum width, evenly in the hole, good stitches, come over and check your follower. I have not had a chance to peer on this, but These two screws here, I believe, are what adjusts the cam follower and its connection to this arm. Many times the cam follower is just out where you can see it. Looks like this little follower nub. Has a couple screws, and you can just, when your zigzag is at 0 on the main dial, and you know that it's making a straight stitch, you rotate your cam stack around until the cam is following on a straight spot, and set your follower on that flat. But always start with your main zigzag, and then worry about adjusting the cam modifier after you know your main zigzag is adjusted properly.